Hey, what's up, guys? Sam here, and I will be doing the free video for Friday, August 26th, 2022. So, in last week's video, we titled it, Was That It? And in this video, we can confirm that was it. So, we were looking at a couple things last week, primarily a little bit of candlestick analysis, right? A little bit of the old shooting star candle there last week. You need a confirmation, usually a secondary bar, after you have a shooting star to confirm the bearish nature of it that would close below the low of the shooting star. And you can see that this week's candle not only achieves that end, but it takes out the entire week of that one, and it takes out the entire week there. By closing here, we've undone the last 3 weeks worth of upward movement. So this combination of signals here, just 2 bars really, especially when it's at the weekly 50, which is the blue line, it is enough to be a problem. I also pointed out in the video last week that this indicator down here, the high-low, you see how the green line has gotten to the center again? That's the most dangerous part, because if there is going to fail, it's going to fail exactly right there at the center, right? Basically kind of like it did here. Now, you don't actually have a failure yet with an arrow, but that's coming. So at this point, the shooting star bearish reversal pattern is confirmed. You've shattered structure here. You had structure all through here, right around 407. It was a very big structure. You had the support level here. You had a Fibonacci at 407. You have the 21 right here. So pretty much you see all these levels that I have on the chart between these two lines. I have the magenta, the white, the blue, the green, the magenta, the moving average, the VWAP, the daily 8. I didn't even count those, but that's at least 5 to 8 different things. Where's price at? It's below all of them. So at this point, well, I think I had been telling you guys in a couple of videos ago that I was looking for about SPY 340 or so. That still is the dynamic. So one question that I get a lot, especially after a bounce, is have you changed your mind? And the answer was no, because of the signals that I was following that got me to think that in the first place. So today, Powell came out and basically said, "Hey, you degenerate stock traders, we're not cutting rates, right? We're going to have to go through all of this pain to get inflation down, and then we'll make the next decision after that." And basically what that means is basically if the market has, well, that the market will be under pressure. One thing I do want to bring up to you, and I forgot to talk about this in the premium video, is next month starts the balance sheet reduction of the Fed, right? So the Fed has two things. They have interest rates on one hand, and they have balance sheet expansion and reduction on the other. So think of it like this. They've raised rates already. They've played that hand, and they'll continue to play that hand. But where it gets kind of dangerous for the market in general is when they start reducing their balance sheet, because what that means is that the Fed, who is the biggest, dumbest money uh, out there, right? They create the money, so they have the most, and they are agnostic as price. They're just buying everything, so they don't give a crap. All that stuff, all those bonds, all that junk that they have bought, um, it, uh, it's now going to be sold on the open market. So it's basically the Fed is going to have like $1 trillion worth of crap that they now have to sell. So think about that for a second. If the Fed is selling, who do you think is going to buy that? No one. And when there's no bids and a infinite amount of supply thanks to the Fed, what do you think happens to price? It is going to fall drastically. So to cover the indicators here, I'll just spend a bit of time here on SPY. everything is as bad as it could look. You had the rejection here, you had the shooting star, you had the confirmation. You are now in a low compression squeeze, right? So now you've compressed back to the center of the range. If you look at the upper and lower ATRs as the range and price where you are, that now opens up the door for us to retest these lower ranges. So I think SPY at the minimum is going to go right here to the weekly 200. It's the same place that it has bottomed in major corrections before. I don't think it bottoms this time, to be fair with you, but let's take it one step at a time because we're not even there yet. But you can see the red line has been where kind of like terminal major support. Even during COVID, it did go below it, but then it got over it almost immediately. So why not a fifth time? The problem is that this time I don't think I don't think it's gonna last, and I think we have to come back here and test the COVID highs, and those are right around 340. So that all looks pretty rough. One thing that you should know is the interest rates are going to be a problem, right? So I just went through the charts with the premium folks in the gold room, and you know, I have a bias going into next week that it's going to be a bloodbath, right? And I have an even bigger bias that September and October are going to be, you know, bloodbaths of their own. And so whenever you have a bias, you always want to work against it, right? You don't want to look for things that confirm your bias because that's easy. You want to look for things that actually go against your bias because, well, that's what's important. And I looked at everything with the premium folks, and I couldn't find anything that doesn't work with that idea. So here's the most dangerous chart on the planet right now, in my opinion. It's the 10-year interest rate, TNX. And you can see here, this chart is perfect. You have stacked moving averages. You have a flat squeeze, which is perfect. You have a trend oscillator. Green line is on top of magenta. That's bullish. And you have this mid-level green arrow. These are the strongest signals you could possibly have on any chart. And they're all hitting here at once. So when next week this breaks above this neckline here, that is going to, well, it should pile drive tech, which should pile drive the market. So this weekend, I would really not even do a lot of work on stocks. I don't think there's a difference between Apple or Amazon in this exact moment in time. They're irrelevant. I would spend my weekend looking at the index, SPY or Qs, and doing some work on TNX, and then having a plan for what you're going to do in the event that the TNX breaks out and you start to break down further on SPY. So, because I know the good people of the YouTube and the algorithm love a good pick, there are still some things that look very good out there. Now, most of them happen to be in the energy space, and this pick very well may not work if the market is truly getting destroyed, but it's as good as anything else looks. So here you have a perfect looking squeeze. You have the mid-level buys. You're trying to make a new high here. This is Chesapeake. This is natural gas. So you're trying to make a new high there above 105, and you have the perfect setup to do so. So it would have broken out today if the market wasn't absolutely getting destroyed, basically closed flat on the day. But keep an eye on it, because in a slightly decent market, this should break out, and I'm looking for about 110 on CHK. Another one was going to be Exxon. And Exxon here, very proper. Needs a pullback. It does need a pullback. And it probably gets it very early next week, to be fair. But very proper looking setup here. Flat squeeze. Trend oscillators correct. Stacked moving averages. Mid-level buy. The only one that looks better than this is Oxy, OXY. So you'll notice that they're both energy plays. And then I'll give you one more here. Somewhat interesting. STNG. So this is another energy play. Even though it's kind of a transportation stock, they're tankers for oil. Kind of an idealized setup, right? It has everything you look for. So same thing would apply here. You just want to check everything, and this gets all checks. So, and it was green on a bad day. So that's a pretty nice sign of strength. And you're getting it pretty close to major support, and it has a daily squeeze and a very perfect trend. So just a couple of ideas there. You'll notice they're all in energy. That's the only thing really left standing. I certainly wouldn't touch tech based on the dynamics that we just looked at. And starting next week, I'm expecting a dump, but even if it doesn't dump right away, and you get a bounce, you should, if you're bearish, you should want a bounce. If you're bullish, you obviously want a bounce. But even if you're bearish, you should want a bounce, because the bounce is going to open up the short. I think shorting this thing into September and staying short through October makes a lot of sense to me. I certainly think that we can clip another 10 to 15% off the S&Ps, get them down to about somewhere between 360 to 340, and then from there we'll reevaluate the market and see where we stand. So today was a pivotal day. This week was a pivotal week. It sets the stage for what's to come, and everything is aligned for significantly lower prices across the entire market. All right, guys, that's my time. Hopefully this was helpful to you. Don't forget to leave us a like and a comment. If you have any questions, leave us a comment, leave us a question. Or if you don't have comments or questions, let us know what your pet's name is. Just something, a comment, so that the algorithm says, hey, people like this, and I should show it to more people. It'll really help us out, so we appreciate it. All right, guys, see you next time. Cheers. Hey, guys, this is Sam, and I'm the Director of Equities at Simpler Trading. I want to thank you for watching this video, and before you go somewhere else on the YouTube, I'd like to ask that you comment and like the video. It really does help us out with the algorithm and getting the message out to more folks who like to see our content. Also, be sure to click the bell notification and subscribe to our channel so that you never miss anything that comes out. If you want to watch us trade in real time using our own money, come over to simplertrading.com and learn how to sign up. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you for the next video. Cheers.